Jimmy Carter finds a renaissance in 2020 Democratic scramble. Atlanta U. Former President Jimmy Carter carved an unlikely path to the White House in 1976 and endured humbling defeat after one term. Now, a peanut farmer turned politician then worldwide humanitarian, Carter is taking on a special role as several Democratic candidates look to his family-run campaign after the Watergate scandal as the roadmap for toppling President Donald Trump in 2020. Jimmy Klobuchar is one of at least 3 presidential hopefuls who ventured to the tiny town of Plains, Georgia, to meet with Carter and his wife, Rosalind, who is 91. New Jersey senior Carter had planned to teach at Maranatha Baptist Church again Sunday, but he is still recuperating at home days after hip replacement surgery following a fall as he was preparing for a turkey hunt. It's quite a turnabout for a man who largely receded from party politics after his presidency, often without being missed by his party's leaders in Washington, where he was an outsider even as a White House resident. To be sure, more 2020 candidates have quietly sought counsel from Trump's predecessor, former President Barack Obama. Several have talked, unlike Clinton, impeached after an affair with a White House intern. Carter has no Me Too demerits. He and Rosalind, he's an outspoken evangelical Christian who criticizes Trump's serial falsehoods, yet praises Trump for attempting a relationship with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Carter touts his 4 years. Carter has irked the foreign policy establishment with forthright criticism of Israel and its treatment of Palestinians. He confirms that he voted for Vermont Senior Bernie Sanders, yet Carter has since warned Democrats against too. Klobuchar credited Carter with being ahead. It's enough of an enigma that Carter is the only living president not to draw Trump's ire or mockery, even if Republicans have lambasted Carter for decades as a liberal incompetent. Trump and Carter, nonetheless, 2020 candidates cite Carter's juxtaposition with Trump. There. Buttigieg said he and Carter talked. Klobuchar recalled Carter telling her that family. It was a. Nonetheless, Klobuchar said she regularly meets Iowans who remember Carter and his family members campaigning in 1975 before his rivals and national media recognized his strength, and she said she sometimes references on the campaign trail how her fellow Minnesotan and Carter's vice president, Walter Mondale, remembers their term "we." Whatever the reasons for the renewed attention, Carter allies say they hope the 2020 campaign is part of bolstering his reputation as a president. People follow Barrow on Twitter at https://twitter.com/BillBarrowWap.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park,